Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I am back with my second idea for the Roxy Journal of Stitchery prompt for the month of May, which is a slow stitch box. So I've been doing a lot of cleaning up and sorting out lately and finding things to send off to the op shops or charity stores, and then finding some things that I think I can repurpose. And one of the things I found was this housekeeper's box. Now, I'm not quite sure what possessed me to buy it. It's a nice sort of retro looking box, but I am definitely not a good housekeeper. It is not something I'm passionate about. And so the fact that I thought I was going to walk around with my supplies, cleaning supplies in here and carry this around the house, it was just never going to happen. I like to think that I do the cooking and the food prep and the shopping in the house, and Alex could do the cleaning. So I'm thinking that I want to repurpose this housekeeper's box, and you might have a clue for what I want to do with it by what is in here. So first of all, let me just give you a little look at the box itself. So as you can see, it has actually had some stuff sitting in there and it's worn away a bit of the paint. So part of the idea with this is to fully cover it. It's got this little lift out component and then another section in the bottom, and I thought this would be absolutely fabulous to keep sewing supplies and other things in my craft room. It's a little bit wobbly, so I think the covering process will also help to address the wobble. And I am thinking about at the end having something, if depending what I want to keep in it, I might even make a little cover to sit across here. So I was just having a little play with if I had a little sort of lid that could sit. This bit actually comes up slightly higher, but I do have some lovely things like lovely quilt. Now I'm just having a look to see where I put it. I literally had it a moment ago. There we are. I've got this lovely vintage quilt that I got from Purveyor of Reclaimed Textiles, and I was thinking I could make a little flip across cover for it, so I could sort of attach it, hinge it at one end and then have it flipped. I think I'd probably take out, so it's been done in the tie method of quilting it, I'd probably take out these wool ties and potentially do my own little hand-stitched quilting design into it. It's got a beautiful wool lining. I could check that that was all sort of in good nick, and if I needed to I could actually put a new wool batting in. I've got lots of wool at the moment, but otherwise I'd use what's in there. I think it needs a little freshen up hand wash. I'm assuming I can do that with the wool. I'll just have to do a bit of investigation, but otherwise I'll take the ties out, give the front and the back a wash, and then assess the middle. But it does look to be in pretty good nick, so that's a thought for afterwards, and that could add another slow stitch element. But I do have some other ideas as well. So my plan is to cover all surfaces, even the bottom. It's got a little bit of wear and a bit of discoloration. Those bits probably come off. It's been, I think, sitting in the laundry. And so cover all of the surfaces. And what I'm planning to do is do a multi-layered effect. And I have these, I'll move this out of the way for a moment. I have these, and I'll bring you down, so just close your eyes for a moment if you do not like the effect of being lowered. Just going to pull myself into my chair as well. Hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. I have these beautiful old patterns. I've been progressively picking them up from the reverse art truck, and I've been thinking, maybe I'll do a sort of a slow stitchy, sewing-y sort of style journal, but then I'd like to use them in something that's going to be useful, not just something that will necessarily sit on the bench. Some of them I reckon this one would have been probably an 80s one. That looks probably, I'd say 80s or 90s even by the shoulders. That's probably an earlier one. This one, I think, would definitely be a fair bit earlier than that. Probably the 70s, maybe. That would be 60s or 70s, I think. That could even be, I don't know. I am looking at the pricing on them. Maybe that gives a clue as well. So that one was $1 Australian, this one was $1.60, so maybe this one's the earliest so far. That could have been the 80s. This one I've already started dismantling the package. So, aren't they great? See, I'd actually even happily wear some of those things. Wow, look at these. That is sort of dynasty looks, isn't it? And then the 2-hour skirt. So that was probably maybe 80s, I'd say, as well. So I've got lots of fun designs, and the one that I've started dismantling, let me grab it and show you what I'm thinking. And I'm hoping if you've got, yeah, some old patterns yourself, this might be an idea, and you could use whatever, yeah, box or container you wanted to kind of, yeah, repurpose. It doesn't have to be a metal one like the one I'm using. I'm just trying to get some extra life out of things. So in the old patterns, you get the parts of the pattern. This is the back of it. I love how the front of it has this little measuring tape bit. You then get the instructions. Oops, quite fragile, but that's okay. The instructions, and again they've got some little design pieces, and those sorts of things I'm thinking might come into play as I start to decorate and go a bit slow stitchy. And then these ones have obviously been used as patterns, so they're all yeah, they're all cut out. And what I'm thinking of is to start the initial layer of covering the surface of everything with these, because I just think it's going to yeah, give a really lovely yeah, covering effect. So I'm thinking start with these, and then I'm thinking I will add then over the top, whether I sort of tear around or cut around, or whether I add these over the top more in their entirety. I think I will probably yeah, cut around them, but then keep some of these elements as well. But we can kind of do that. I'm thinking it will be a bit of a staged approach. So tonight we might start with this. But I do also have the idea of taking each of the designs that I'm going to be putting on, and then going through my collection of fabrics and other haberdashery items and sampling things that might have been samples that someone thinking of using these patterns would have got. So, for example, I'm just trying to find again where I put it. I have best laid plans of mice and men. So for this dress, for example, I would go in and sample a piece of fabric like this. And then if this gets stuck onto the outside of the container, I might just take a square of this and put some stitches into it. I might even like stitch out the sort of the shape of the neckline, for example, onto it. Or I might want to play a bit with pleating it to see how it looks with its pleating, and that could then get added to the outside of the container next to the design. So that's how I'm planning to bring in a bit of the slow stitching. I can even do things like make some, because I've got my very easy yo-yo and Suffolk puff makers, so I can even make some, potentially make some Suffolk puffs in the colours of the dresses as well. So there's a few options. That will be a further step down the process, but I was thinking part of it will be finding some fabrics that match. I've also got some old things like buckles and things. I've got a whole collection of haberdashery, so I think it might be a great thing to put some of those on as well. Let me actually grab from behind me. Sorry if I just bumped you. Let me just grab some of my haberdashery supplies. Just have to run behind me to the back shelving. I have so many wonderful things like snap fasteners, old little needle books. I just love these sorts of things, so those could also be added to the outside of, I can even put a bit of a thin tulle around them if I want to keep them in their entirety and not stick them down. There's probably ways I can attach them on, but I've got so many that I really wouldn't be fussed to be attaching some of these, for example, on. So I'm thinking a bit of a yeah, a mixed design, and starting to use even some of these things like the needles and things I just think could make a really fun decorations. Speaking of buckles, I could take some things like this, put some stitches into it, and then that could actually sit down the outside of the container. So that will be a lot of fun, I think, and a great way to start bringing in some of my favourite vintage haberdashery that I've been collecting up but haven't done anything with yet. So this is the year for using the stash. So I'll just put those out of the way. And so let's have a go using some of the pieces from this one, which I've already started dismantling. Oh, and the other thing I thought was, with a piece like this, I could actually cut out, probably I'd shrink it down and do a smaller size, but I could actually have something like this sitting over a piece of fabric, and I'm thinking I could even try and stitch into the paper and the fabric as well. So there's quite a few things I want to try, a few ideas, and that's something we can definitely do. Don't worry, I am going to be coming back with my Hexy house as well, because I know some of you are eagerly awaiting that one, and I've come up with, I think, something that's going to be an even easier way, particularly if you find the stitching really fiddly and possibly a bit sore for your hands, a really easy way to get your Hexies together. So stay tuned for that. So I might need to bring you back up again, and I think we can start doing it. Now, I was going to use Mod Podge or PVA, but I think I've tested it out, and I think my Yoo-Hoo stick is going to work a-okay. So I'm just going to go with abandon. I think I can even stick things over that little area there. And again, I could have even put fabrics, for example, underneath what I'm putting on now, but I think I'll just start off this way, and we can always add fabrics later. I like that I'm going to be gradually covering up the housekeeper's box, the thing that it was never going to be. And where I don't have glue, I can just add a bit more down there. So I do find the Yoo-Hoo's pretty strong, and I can always put a coating on it at the end of some Mod Podge over the surface to give it some extra strength where the fabric, or not where the fabric, where the paper is. Put a bit more glue on the corner down here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm just not worried at all by anywhere where you might get a few wrinkles and things. It's not going to concern me. I'm just happy to have a little project to use some of these things. Okay, so we can continue our way around. As you can see, there's actually some marks there. I've got a face washer that I've just got dampened. I might just give this side a little clean before we put the glue down onto it. I find when I'm working with glue, if I bring in a wet face washer and a dry face washer, then I don't need to use tissues and disposable wipes, which is a bit better for the environment if you can do that. Almost going to leave one of my hairs stuck to the other side. Oops. I ran right off the edge of the box. But yeah, this will just be an initial base, and then we can start adding other elements. another piece from down here, all beautifully, neatly folded up. Kind of wonder if this piece of clothing, if it was made and if it's out there somewhere in the world. Oh, it's a bigger piece, so I might just have a look if we've got some smaller pieces, maybe not. What's this one? Oh, I've got a collar. I can go maybe round like that, or we can go over the base possibly. No, we need to go up to there. Need to add some extra glue over here. I do find the Yoo-hoo very, very easy to use, which is nice. Okay, and I just need to glue down this piece as well. I thought the pattern fabric might be very fragile to work with, but it's actually working. It's working okay. It's just, yeah, it's quite nice when it all layers over, and I do think I actually like the wrinkle effect. I think certainly going to be a unique container, not one of those mass-produced ones. Well, the container originally was, but now it's been given a new life. So yeah, let me know what you think about the sort of the slow stitch elements to add to it. I can also do some hexies as well, although I might be all hexied out after my house project. But yeah, I thought the Suffolk puffs might be fun to add to the outside. So I'm just bringing that down onto the base. So I need to put this one over, don't I? Have I put glue there? I think I did. Let's just make sure I put enough over here. Luckily I've got lots of tubes of Yoo-hoo. I bought a big bulk lot a little while ago. I do use them a lot even with my fabric crafts. And glue down. Might just overlap my next piece, see how that looks when you kind of overlap. If it's hot weather, it's good to put your Yoo-hoo in the fridge or the refrigerator. Well, it's not hot here at the moment. We're hoping to see the Southern Lights last night because there'd been a beautiful showing of the Southern Lights in Melbourne the night before, but alas, I think I've joined a Facebook group now where they refer to her as she, the Southern Lights. Which is similar for those of you in the northern hemisphere, which have the northern lights. Yeah, but they didn't show up. I kept rushing to the window last night, but alas, no southern lights. I think I'll just keep overlapping where I can because I just think it all adds interest. So I'll just do some glue here first. Probably just take it all the way. And yeah, obviously if you were worried about having creases and things, you could use one of those tools and put it on, but I just think that's all going to add to the interest. Okay, now we need to extend it down onto the base. Hopefully you have your own project if you're not suddenly covering a box, if you haven't run away to get a box and grab some patterns, which you're most free to do. Follow along with my crazy ideas. I might just tear down here. Tear ish down there. Doesn't have to be precise. We need to put some glue onto here. I'll just tear these bits off there. Here as well. Oops. Again, I might just tear that bit off there. Now the design is sticking to my fingers as I try and put it into the bin. Make this next piece a little bit smaller so it can fit over the base. And yeah, I think I'll extend them up this side and each of the sides. Kind kind of light that I can see at this stage, but I think it will end up covered. But the housekeeper's box shining through, but now turned into a sewing box, because that is what this housekeeper would much rather be doing, but not sewing with these patterns per se, but still, it's got the vibe. I think if I then add the slow stitching elements, it kind of shows the evolution. Now maybe I don't. Wonder how much of this I need. Unless I get my paper scissors. Just tear it off there so I can get it stuck down in one spot and then overlap the other one up. Oops, I've just scraped it off with my glue stick, but that was just the edge, the plastic edge of it, but I'm not going to worry because we can just add some more things over the surface. The great thing about this sort of decoupage technique, you can just keep adding. Just putting some glue down here to catch that corner. Down here. I think I'll extend that one up here. I hope no one that's a sewer is sort of screaming at the screen now going, you can't do that to an old pattern. But seriously, these had come from the reverse art truck. They were sitting in a container there. They are in a container where they just say take a couple each time you visit there, so don't take the entire container. But yeah, they don't often get taken. So I'd rather give something new life. And just have it sit in my cupboard as opposed to sitting in a container at the reverse art truck. At least this is going to be out on display and use in my craft room. Oops, it's not sticking down. But yeah, I think I'll probably, once I've finished putting on the paper layers, which will be a bit later on, I'll probably put a layer of Mod Podge over it to give it some extra strength. So it's a bit hard to film because the container is quite large. So apologies for the odd angles, etc. In fact, here let's just do a little tear. Down. I've got a double layer here, so we might just do the tear there as well. one section of it. So I've done all around and all on the bottom. I will also then proceed to do the inside as well, unless I decide I want to do the inside with some fabric. So we might just focus on this for now while I ponder on the inside. And so if I want to use something like this, I think I will cut around, because I think the figures are the most interesting bit of this. It's whether I cut around or tear around it. I'll try tearing, just because I think it might give a more interesting edge than cutting. Just hopefully I don't tear anyone's arm off or head off. I'm really not violent in that way, but my tearing can sometimes be a bit errant. But I think I'll then use the other pieces of this, the headings and etc., to continue to decoupage over the surface as well. So far so good on the tearing. Gives it that more sort of fragment look as well. Yeah, I do like how that looks. So yeah, I think that can be added on now. I'll just glue it down on my piece of paper next to the container. Putting glue all over the surface of it, not that you can see, but just same glue, the Yoo-hoo glue. And I think that way then I can put the samples that I make, whether in Suffolk puffs or little design elements or buckles and things like that, I can put them around. Yeah, I do like that. That's super, super cool. And there's nothing stopping me as well, if I do decide I want to put some more of this design element then over the top. But at the moment I think I'm quite happy that I'll have that just under the surface. So if I then want to put some of the other elements from the packet, as I said, I just loved this little measuring tape. So again, I think that can probably just go straight on as well, even with its little age spots. I'll just move it up so you can see where I'm putting that. And then we'll take the I might separate these two bits. And I'll just apply some glue, again just slightly off camera with my glue application, but I'm sure you've all seen glue multiple times. So I'll put it in this space that's a bit empty over here, I think. Although again, some of this will end up being covered with the further fabric embellishments. It's the end of the day, end of a Monday that's been very busy at work, but kind of fun. This feels like a very therapeutic end to the day. I might just put that over here. Yeah, so either the matte Mod Podge, or I might get some other. Might have a look at Bunnings or online and get some other finishing decoupage sort of finishing product for when it's all on. before we start doing the fabric embellishments. This is from the back of the paper, so I might just tear down part of this, part of the writing, but I probably don't need all the writing. I probably don't even need all of the bottom of it either. And I might just give it a fully torn look. So it's interesting, this particular box prompt is combining some of Rachel's from Roxy Creations favourite sort of journal making and paper craft activities with the slow stitch, which is very cool. Where do I want to put this? Maybe here on the corner, just so it adds a bit of extra interest. Get rid of that little scrappy bit. Don't miss your style passion book on sale now. And again, maybe we'll just overlap this onto the corner because around here I've not got as much interest happening. I overlap it with a little measuring tape down here and then just bring it over and around the corner. Okay, so I don't think I need any of these, but I'll keep them for another project another day. And then I've got these bits. So let's have a look at what I might like to harvest from in here. Maybe we can try what I'm thinking even with something like this little piece. I am interested if I can stitch into the here when it's on. Oh, I might cut it out a smidge larger, just so I've got a bit more room around it to start. And whether I want to, I don't know if I want to tear this or cut it out more like you would have it if you were doing a stitch project. And then I might move my box out of the way for this stage because we'll move into stitchy land. So let me just keep that here. Move my box down. I might bring you down as well. I'll get my face washer and give my hands a clean, my dampened face washer, and then my dry face washer after that. Get rid of the gluiness. Face washer over there, get my other one. Okay. Bring my chair in. Put aside the glue over here. Get rid of my gluing paper. And then let's grab some fabric. Where did I have a bigger piece of that blue fabric? I've got a huge piece over here, in fact. Oh, well, let's just check the piece that I did have, because maybe I don't need to cut another piece if I have one that's about the right size. I did want to do some, I think I probably wanted a bit bigger, so I think what I'm going to do is I will cut down here. This is all very experimental, but I just pop the camera on because that way if it all kind of works, then you've got another fun little activity to do. Now, I want to cut across on the straight across here. always keep your paper scissors and your fabric scissors separate. These are my very good fabric scissors, so they are never used for paper. So yeah, I think I want a slightly bigger piece than that, so I will just grab my fabric, see if I've got an end that I've already been nibbling out of, or is it relatively square? No, I don't think I've been nibbling out of it yet. So I want to do maybe, I guess I don't want it too big because I don't have a heap of space. But I want to have enough that I can see the fabric. Oops, I'll need to put an extra cut in to pull. Do you like that sound, or do you hate the sound of tearing fabric? Some people also hate the edges when you've got torn fabric, but I love the raw edges, and I love getting nice little fray bits. I've got a whole big jar, so we might even have to put some Ort balls on the outside of the container as well. I might have to have some hanging off the handle, because I've got a whole jar of Orts to turn into Ort balls, and another fun project that I've got as well. Idea. If my iron's got any heat in it to iron that flat? No, probably not. So I might use just a dob of my friendly Yoo-hoo just to hold it. This Yoo-hoo's been, in fact, it's I didn't realise that I'd actually left it with a template for the EPP stuck to it, and it's got all my EPP fabric on it. So I might just put a little dab around the outside to hold it onto the fabric while we do some stitching in, and we shall see how this goes. And again, I might just need to give my fingers a quick de-gluing. It's never fun using needles when you've got gluey fingers. And usually if I was doing this, I'd let the Yoo-hoo dry a bit before I'm stitching in, but hopefully I didn't put too much in the area where I'm stitching, because I'm thinking I'm going to either stitch on the lines or slightly around the lines. Now, I've been organising my threads. I did have them all in drawers, but then I had a box that I'd picked up off the nature strip, and this has a top section for threads in it, and I was able to fit all my vintage sewing threads in there, plus some newer ones that I've got from these beautiful Mako ones that I got from, is it Aurifil? Yes, Aurifil. So yeah, all beautifully organised, and they all fit perfectly with just a little bit of wobblage. So I will I think I'll go for a nice blue that kind of goes with that, maybe a darker blue, or maybe that nice blue. I think that one. So we have this one as well, which is rather lovely. Or I do have some of the, as I said, I have those lovely Mako ones as well. I've got any that are in a, they're a bit thicker than Mako ones, but I do quite like them. Oh, I think I'd like that. I just wonder, is that going to be too thick for what I want? Will it tear the paper, or will it be okay? We'll give it a go. Got one of these, which I think is like a chenille type needle. But it's just about adding some slow stitchy sort of elements, hand stitchy elements to this. And I just want it to have the feel of something that's like a little sampler case, as though it's a place where someone's been thinking about their sewing projects. So I wonder if I stitched around the outside. Just did a little running stitch, following the outside of the design. Hopefully you can see. I'll try not to go off camera. Could of course just go all the way directly around the outside of the paper. That's another choice as well, and even maybe even do something like a blanket stitch on it, but let's just follow along this way for a moment and see what we think about it as a method. But it's going to be fun going through my fabric collection and trying to match it up with some of the designs and the patterns. I'll have to choose some of the more outlandish ones as well. So yeah, I think that adds a nice little bit of definition. I might jump over here. Only thing with the paper is you have to kind of be a little bit definite about where you poke your needle through, because otherwise you'll have a hole in the paper. But I suppose it doesn't really matter for something that's vintagey look anyway. I was thinking, could I do something like those little, did you ever have those dolls as a child, which were paper dolls, and then you had the little outfits to put on them? So I don't know, I might have to play with that idea for this and maybe make an outfit for one of the paper outfits. Just don't know if my miniature dressmaking skills are quite up to it. Yeah, I quite like that, I think. I am wondering, do I need to go around the outside though, just to give it some stability? And can I do a blanket stitch? I always struggle to, I think we all struggle to start blanket stitch. I don't know why. I actually thought I was going to go the other way, but I guess I'm going this way. I know normally you do it in a fluid motion, but because of the paper I'm just going to have to do it that little bit more delicately. In a pokey method. Going to make it almost like a little sampler. I could even do different types of stitches, but I think the blanket stitch will just give a nice secure edge to where the fabric and the paper meet. Oops. Probably should have come up where that corner is, but I think we can just put it just over the corner, yep. Like that. Now I'll just go down there anchor that in place, and then we can, I wonder if I do it along the top. Well, that's probably got enough. Maybe I'll just do it down the two sides and along the bottom, in which case I'll just bring my needle down. And then have to remember how to make my blanket stitch go this way next. Have I got that? No, I don't think I've done that one right, have I? No, we'll need to. Because I think I'll need to come, yes, that's what I'll do. I'll just need to do my next one coming across like this, like that, and then popping up. There we go. Back into motion. I hope you can see okay. I can bring you down a smidge further if it helps. As I say, normally you'd do a more fluid sort of motion of coming. This bit would be done as you go down and up. Okay, I'll just anchor that one down there. And then I will start the process along here. Have you ever stitched with paper and fabric together? I'm sure some of the journal makers out there will have done that. But it's something I've been wanting to explore more this year with maps and some other things for some travel inspired. So this is, yeah, again, just a great little chance to try to experiment. I must admit that's why I like trying things, figuring things out. I think that's when I feel my most creative. And just starting something and seeing where the ideas take you is kind of, as you do things, it does prompt other thoughts. But yeah, hopefully this might have given you some inspiration for a little project for your own. If you've got some old patterns that you're not doing anything with that look interesting and capture a time and a period, I guess that's why I think they are particularly interested, even if you're not into sewing clothes yourself, just the fabrics of the era as well are interesting to look at. So I'll just get this row of done, or at least until we run out of thread, whichever happens first. So I hope you've been having a lovely day. Not sure when this will get posted. Will depend how long it takes to load. Probably tomorrow. Probably Tuesday evening here. I will post it late evening, which will be tomorrow. And then I'll get back to working on the next stage for my hexie box. I just wanted to, yeah, get this idea out there in case it helps someone that might be a bit stumped or wants to make another box, because I know some of you get your boxes done so fast. As Rachel and Sarah say, sometimes the next morning after they've put out a prompt, there's already people that have completed, which is just amazing. I definitely take longer. The ideas come straight away, but it takes longer to have enough time to get them stitched. So, am I going to get to the end here? I don't know. It's probably okay because I probably do need to stitch around the outside of the other piece anyway. So even if I need to restart a thread, it's probably not the total end of the world. So I might just take my thread down there and finish it off here for now. A little knotsy knot. So I think that looks really, really cute. I do like that. I could have definitely stitched the design, but then you kind of lose that really fine detailing on the design. And yeah, maybe with my next one I just need to leave a bit more margin up the top, or maybe here I'll just put some stitches in there. And by the time we've done the little blanket stitch all around, that gives a really secure edge actually to the fabric. It's sorry, not to the fabric, to the paper. I think it's actually super, super good. And I suppose even along the top here I could even overlay something like a little bit of lace. I'm just having a look what I've got sitting in the vicinity. So something like even like this could get sort of overlaid over the edge of something if you wanted to kind of, yeah, just add some other elements to your little slow stitch vignettes. And as I said, also thinking about how you might be able to use some Suffolk puffs, either sort of vintage ones or ones that you've made yourself. Let me just, I've actually washed a big jar because I've got so many of them, but I've got these beautiful vintage Suffolk puffs, and so some of these could be really lovely to add on to this little piece as well. Let's just have a quick little look-see. Should be using my small scissors here. You like me, you just grab the scissors that are closest so you don't always get your little embroidery snips for the small tasks. Don't even mind if the edges get that little bit of fray. This one's still got a piece of thread attached to it actually. But yeah, maybe something like having, a Suffolk puff on the little corner piece, and then maybe some other little finer embellishments. I'm just having a look what I've got in my random jar of bits and bobs here. I've got like a nice little blue, so it might be a chance to use some of my lovely trims as well. So almost like someone thinking about the design and thinking about other things they wanted to put on their design. So maybe even having one of these other Suffolk puffs. Sometimes the backs of the Suffolk puffs are even fabulous too. Or putting a little cluster of them up there, maybe with 3 of them. So yeah, heaps and heaps of possibilities. Even maybe laying lace under the piece of paper before you stitch it down. Or just having a piece of lace off the side. So yeah, lots to play with. And then the thinking is, and again I'll just need to bring you up. The thinking would be that we have something like this, and again we can kind of take things around the corner. But yeah, have something like this, sitting on the piece. They can even, I guess, sit down like that, or just run them over the edge. You could sit down there, but then we'd be obscuring the design. So yeah, I think I'd probably be inclined to put them somewhere like that. So I have them up there, somewhere like that, but probably closer actually to this one. So some of the things that we've stuck on will end up being yeah, covered up, but what fun to have a little yeah, slow stitchy style embellishments on it, and then other little yeah, lacy other bits. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to have fun, yeah, selecting some fabrics for these types of things. I can see myself making a little buckle belt sort of thing that might hang down there, and then I'll try and find, even if I maybe make some Suffolk puffs in the colours that are on this dress. But maybe I will put this down this way, because it doesn't all have to go up one particular direction. I think that does add interest. So yeah, that could be great, I think. So anyway, I will leave it there. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that's given you some ideas too. Bye everyone.